Welcome to the Excelsior Health Podcast. This is the podcast for busy professionals and parents who are battling weight gain, high stress, and a drop of self-confidence, and are looking for the simple solutions on how they can transform their health and create a healthier lifestyle. I'm your host, Coach Cory Fernandez. This is my co-host.
I'm Coach Susie.
There we go. We'll finally get it. Hey, today, guys, does anybody like quickies?
Ooh, I do.
Love quickies, huh?
Yeah.
So today we got a quickie, but a goodie for you. Listen, pretty sure there's about 10 weeks left until summer. So right now it's about to be May here in Mississauga, Toronto area.
Mm-hmm.
People are starting to get excited. Our boy Viral's already wearing shorts and a t-shirt. And it's not even that hot outside. But it's time. We're craving the summer. But with that, hey, people are going to be out more. You're going to be at the beach. You're going to be, at functions, barbecues, festivals. So would it be good for you over these next 10 weeks to drop 10 pounds of body fat? I'm pretty sure it would. Most people would be pretty pumped out about that. So today's episode is a quick one of just giving you guys some simple tactics on how you can lose 10 pounds of body fat in 10 weeks. Okay. So for example, losing 10 pounds in 10 weeks is not something that I would say is easy. Mm-hmm. This is above average results, but when you have the right tools, the right systems, the right tactics, it can be something that is, I don't want to say very easily done, but it can be done, all right, very effectively. So what we're going to share today is one of our tools that we use with our clients to make it easier for them to be in a calorie deficit. Okay, so very quickly, if you're losing fat, so if you're losing 10 pounds of fat over 10 weeks, scientifically what happened is you were in a calorie deficit. So what a calorie deficit is your body was burning more calories than it was taking in, fat loss occurred. Mm-hmm. Calorie surplus, which happens to a lot of our busy professionals over time each year, as we slow down our movements, work more, work out less, what it is, you're taking in more calories than you're burning, which is how you gain weight. Okay, so the actions that we're going to give you today in this episode, these things naturally put people in a calorie deficit without having to have the challenging skill of tracking calories, right? There comes a time and place where people got to know that skill. I think if you want to continue to get great results, it's a great thing to know. But these things make it almost like a little cheat sheet, make it a little bit easier. All right. So why don't you kind of share what our tool is called and then give maybe the first one?
So for us, we like to make it simple. So high 5 factors for fat loss. So 5 different things that you could do and track in order for you to lose, pounds of fat. So the first one that we think is super important, definitely movement. You have to train. So training 4 days a week is something that will help you move and burn calories.
And
as well as building muscle.
Yeah, even more important than like burning calories, because that would be the first thing someone thinks is, okay, I got to lose fat. I got to work out. Like, how can I be intense? Like, it's not even that. Like, in a workout, especially like an upper body workout, you might burn 400 calories. That's nothing. You can go to Tim Hortons right after, eat a donut. Those calories are right back in. So don't associate training so much with burning calories and that like losing fat. That's not the main purpose of it. Like when you do strength training, you're building muscle. The more muscle that you have on your body, your metabolism is now more efficient at burning calories. That's the main benefit. But what I would say, and what we try to educate a lot of our clients is the act of working out, like just showing up to the gym, being regimented 4 times a week, it actually makes you focus on the other habits more. Yeah. So someone who works out regularly is going to be more mindful about what they eat, how they sleep, are they getting steps in? That's the big reason why we have it in our high 5 factor of fat loss. And another reason too, like that we call it the high 5 factor, is because there's only so many damn things you can focus on at once.
Yeah. These are more like actionable, tangible things that someone could do in order to get to their results.
And simple to follow. It's either, yes, I did this or not.
Yeah.
So it's like 5 key things. There are sometimes lots of things that could, be a factor, but these are just 5 key things. Do these 5 things on a daily basis, and it's going to lead to you being, closer to losing 10 pounds of fat over the next 10 weeks.
And your 4 workouts could be 3 strength, 1 cardio. It could be 2 strength, 2 cardio. Whatever it is the fact that you're being disciplined to show up 4 days.
Yep, 100%. So that's number 1, right? Is, hey, let's get 4 training sessions in, good intensity, pushing yourself. Like Susie said, combination of strength and maybe some high intensity cardio. Yep. All right. Now, next one that we got.
Number 2 is what we like to call second wind workout. So for those who don't know what a second wind workout is basically going outside for a walk. And this could be, sometimes people count it as steps, but we like to say at least 30 to 45 minutes outside.
And where we got like the term second wind workout, I read this book, one of my favorite books called Inner Hero Manifesto by Robin Sharma. And he termed it that. Like, we didn't even make it up. I just loved it. And the concept behind it is, we know training, right? Like, strength training is so important. Why do we only do it once a day? Like, why don't we work out more? And the answer to that is, like, doing hard training more than once a day, for most people, it's too much. Mm-hmm. You're going to start beating up your body. But there's other forms of working out you can do that's low, steady state. It doesn't beat up your body, doesn't bang up your joints, which, when you do strength training, there is that impact that's going to have on your body. So second wind workouts are meant to be at a lower, steady state impact. So just like Susie said, the best thing, walking, getting those steps in. But another way of doing a second wind workout, I think, is bike riding, right? Bike riding, you're not putting any pressure on your knees. It's very smooth, and you're just pedaling and you're moving.
Would you count someone's second wind workout if they're walking in a treadmill for 30 minutes?
For sure, yeah. I think treadmill is totally cool. I think the only downside is you're missing out on the benefits of being in nature. Mm-hmm. If you can walk outside while the sun is hitting you, you're getting some vitamin D, you're getting some fresh air. There's just so many benefits, like even besides fat loss, just mental health wise for recovery. Yeah. I would rather that. But if someone's stuck, the weather sucks outside, and it's just easier for you to do some steps on the treadmill, this is definitely going to be good in this sense. Yeah, for sure. So that's number 2. What did we say? 30 to 45 minutes. And the key point that we're saying, especially if right now you're looking for, 10 pounds of fat loss in 10 weeks, hey guys, we got to do this every day. So we're not saying, hey, do a second wind workout, once a week, and it's just everything's going to be okay. It's like, no, man, like every day, 30 to 45 minutes. And on average, like, I'm giving an estimate, but someone who does about a 45-minute walk, you're probably burning around 300 calories. Mm-hmm. So now let's say you did that every day times 7. That's about 2,100 extra calories that you're burning just from walking. Yeah. So that adds up over the weeks to help you shed some of these extra pounds. And I think the other reason why that we enjoy walking, or we tell our clients to walk, is because it's also a distraction from you not to be at home bored. Because when you're at home bored, just sitting there, it's easy to go in the kitchen and grab snacks or something to eat because you have nothing else to do. So when you're walking, you're moving and you're getting the benefits of everything else. Yeah, good point. Right? And sometimes people like a total. I prefer like, hey, I went to go walk for 45 minutes, for 30 minutes, check that off. Some people like to follow a total. Total's great. So if you wanted a total, 10K per day is a very normal industry standard. But if you're starting to push over that, that's fantastic. Getting 12K, 13K steps, that's only going to help kind of speed up the process. Yeah. Another little added bonus that I want to put in with walking, because there's just so many beneficial parts of walking. When you do strength training or a hard running session, you get hungry. Like your appetite goes up. So with walking, you're getting these calories being burned, but you're not spiking up your appetite because it's not intense exercise. Mm-hmm. All right. So number 3, what's the third factor for fat loss? Number 3 is drinking water, and specifically everybody's water intake will be different depending on how much you weigh. So what I drink and what Coach Cory drinks will be different. So what we recommend is taking your body weight,
divided by 2, and that will be the minimum of ounces you will be drinking to reach your target water intake. And then also 0-calorie drinks. So, it could be black coffee, it could be green tea, whatever, as long as it doesn't have any calories.
All right, so benefits of that. So we're talking about drinking water. Susie just said, how can you calculate it? So I'm basically about 220 pounds. I'm going to consume at least 100, 110 ounces of water per day. So if you're someone who originally, like when I learned this, I'm like, I don't even know what the hell ounces are. I never use it. Man, use technology. How much ounces are in liters? Boom.
Yeah.
So for me, I know on average, it's about 2.93 liters is what I need to consume as a minimum to be in a good place with my water.
Yeah.
So figure out the same thing for you. And if you're wondering, oh, I already drink way more than that. Good. You got that factor done. It's just, this is like just an amount to build off of, where some people, they're terrible at water. They don't drink any water all day.
But why water though? Why not other things? Like, what's the benefits of water?
So there's so many benefits of water, in terms of giving your brain like a bath. We all think about waking up in the morning sometimes, taking a shower. You're like cleansing your brain so that way you can have more energy throughout the day. But specifically why we have this for fat loss is when you're hydrated, you're going to be more full. So a lot of studies show that people that are hydrated with water, you have less cravings for things that are processed, things that are sugary, but also you just have less of appetite.
And it's 0 calories.
Yep.
So you could drink as much water and not consume any calories.
And, our approach to coaching people to lose fat is not that you can't have anything that's high calories or low nutritional value, but for the purpose of this podcast, someone who's sitting there who's like, man, I want to drop 10 pounds in the next 10 weeks. What we're recommending is only drink water or beverages that are 0 calories. So just by someone saying, all right, no more beers, no more wine every single night, no more Frappuccino, no more orange juice, no more pop, all those swaps alone for some people, not all people, can help them be in a calorie deficit, especially with the movement that we've already talked about. And then boom, they're starting to lose body fat.
And I think before we did come across, a student who says they don't like the taste of water. So you could spice it up. You could add, different fruits in your water. You could add lemon, mint, whatever it is, just to give it a little bit flavor so you could consume that water easily.
Right? But one thing that I would also say and be real is like, maybe incorporating water is hard for you, but what's harder? Being overweight and insecure and unhappy with how your body's feeling? Like, just get used to it. And that's the cool thing about water. It changes your palate. So as you make that commitment, it's not going to happen in a month, but over time, you're going to actually taste food better because you're drinking water.
Yeah.
Because we get so used to certain sugary things that we just forget how good water can taste, how refreshing it can.
Yeah. And if you are someone who has a hard time drinking water, I say make it easy for you. Have that bottle of water with you everywhere you go, whether it's at the gym, whether it's at work beside you, whether it's the first thing you drink in the morning. You're just carrying it everywhere. So that way it's a reminder, I got to drink my water.
And the most effective times, because, one thing that I've remembered is like when people are trying to learn a new habit, I got this from Atomic Habits by James Clear, is you want to stack it to a habit you already do it.
Yeah.
So for me, when I coach people, I always say, hey, we're trying to incorporate more water. When you wake up in the morning and you brush your teeth and your clothes are on, the next habit of when we go downstairs is drinking at least 20 ounces of water. So for a lot of people, that's a game change, that they don't drink water. They get up in the morning, they pour a cup of coffee, and they go throughout their day. So it's the 20 ounces of water first. And then some other times is anytime you're about to have a meal. So again, it could be lunchtime, it could be dinner. You have to have the 20 ounces of water before you have the meal. It's called water trick, and it makes people eat less food. So if you're eating less food, you're going to burn more calories, you're going to lose more body fat.
What I like to do that keeps it easy is the 2-in-1, is having water and then adding protein with the water, because then you get your water intake plus a serving of protein. And
that's our next one, right? So when we're talking about the high 5 factors for fat loss and how you could lose 10 pounds in 10 weeks, The next one, which I think might be the most critical one, also maybe the challenging one, is prioritizing protein. So what's the amount of proteins that someone should try to consume in a day?
So everyone's different again. What I eat is going to be different than what Coach Cory eats, but basically whatever your goal ideal weight is going to be. So if my goal is to be 120 pounds, then I should be aiming for 120 grams of protein per day.
And that's like a very standard approach.
Simple.
Obviously, it could be more specific. Other things you guys might hear is you might hear a range of like 0.8 to 1. Yeah. And that's because eating, you know, your body weight in protein is hard. So as a guy who's 220 pounds, it's hard for me to eat 220 grams of protein per day and be in a calorie deficit. It can be challenging. You have to be very intentional with your food. So eating 0.8 of your ideal body weight is still really, really good. And then another one that if you are a little bit more tracking, you know, and you're doing body fat scans, it's called your lean body mass. So if you have your lean body mass in protein, that is enough, right? So that's another maybe fancy way that if somebody was confused, these are all accurate. So for example, as a guy, I'm 220 pounds. If I'm having 180 to 220 grams of protein, those are all good. You know, for you, how much you weigh?
Oh, I don't know right now, but let's just say typically 120, 120. So that would basically, the way I like to measure is my palm, just to keep it
but how much grams per day?
It would be 120.
But what's on the low end?
The low end, I would say 100.
Yeah,
that would
80.
Be,
Like even 80 is not perfect, but like that's better than what a lot of people do. Like a lot of people, when we're going through their nutrition as a woman, it might be like 40 grams of protein in a day. As a guy, it might be 60, and we're just overeating on carbs.
Yeah.
So for you, what would you say if you're trying to explain to someone what's the benefit of them getting protein?
The benefit, number one, when we talk about consuming less calorie, protein will definitely keep you full longer throughout the day. So you're not going to eat as much.
Yeah. So super satiating, you know, just compare. I got to eat a donut, which I can eat 3 of those like nothing. And that's like 900 calories, or I have to sit there and cut steak. Steak is going to fill you up so much more. The other benefits is like with protein, it's the building block of muscle. Yeah. Right. So we always want to be prioritizing that.
Isn't there, is it called the thermic effect as well?
Yeah, there you go. So the thermic effect of food, this is another thing that a lot of people don't realize, is when you're consuming protein, right, you are actually going to burn 30% of those calories. It's 20 to 30% just through digestion. Yeah. Compared to carbohydrates, it's more like 10 to 20%. And then fats is like 0 to 3%. So it's just more efficient to eat protein. And when you have a high protein diet, it's just going to help you be more full, and it's going to aid this approach to fat loss.
So what are some proteins that someone can eat if they don't know what protein is?
All right, so we got chickens. I mean, think anything really animal-based protein is probably your best source. You know, chicken, steak, fish, tuna, salmons, eggs. Yeah. Then we got Greek yogurt. You have protein powder as a supplement.
Cottage cheese.
So
how about if I was, because we do have a lot of students that are vegan and they say, Coach, I can't eat meat. Yeah. What are the other source of protein I could lean towards?
I would say convert to eating meat. No,
no, there's tofu, there's vegan protein powders out there.
It's definitely harder as a vegetarian, especially as a vegan. It's harder, but doesn't mean it's not possible for you to get your protein, right? You got to just get better at tracking. So you got to be able to like use things that are carbs, but how much protein you're getting. It's just hard, right? If you're relying on quinoa is a carb. So it has more carbohydrates than it does protein. Yeah. So there are things, right? Like you said, tofu is a really popular one. Yeah. But then it's using probably protein powder to help support that. Mm-hmm. What's the other one I'm thinking about too?
There is beans, and I know out of all the bean family, lentil is the one that has the most protein in the bean family.
It's still like when you're eating beans and lentils, you're still getting primarily carbs. So it's hard to get, you know, for you to get 100 grams of protein from beans and lentils. It's just tough. Yeah. Right. So we can kind of dive deeper on that in another episode. Yeah. Last but not least, guys, in our 5 factors to help you lose 10 pounds of body fat, you know, in the next 10 weeks is basically create an eating window. So when we say eating window, it's just the idea that most people are eating nonstop 15 hours a day. You wake up in the morning, you're taught, hey, I gotta have breakfast. Let me shove like a muffin, a bagel down, and then you're literally eating before you go to bed, right? You might have dinner, then you open the bag of chips, you open the cake, you drink some pop, and then you go to bed. It's shortening the time in which we eat. So if you know that most people are eating 15 hours a day, what we recommend is trying to get in between 8 to 12 hours.
Yeah.
And just by creating this window, so let's say you take someone who, wakes up at 8 a.m., they eat at 9 a.m., and then they eat until 12:30 a.m. at night. Now we shrink it down that person is eating from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Automatically, because we shrunk their window, most people are going to consume less calories.
Yeah.
And if you're consuming less calories, it's going to put you in a position to be in a caloric deficit, which will help you lose weight. So just a simple starting point. When do you wake up? Choose when you want to have your first meal. So some people, they don't like eating right away, right? They want a couple hours. So let's say you wake up at 8 a.m., you choose to eat at 12, but then your last meal is at 8. Hey, you just established an 8-hour eating window.
Yeah.
I personally think for most people, 10 hours is the best. Yeah. 12 hours is a good place to start. 8 hours, I think you have to be experienced, but it's also not necessary. Like 8 hours is a very popular intermittent fasting window, but it can be tough for people to get the right amount of protein and get the right amount of meals into.
Yeah, but how late do you recommend someone eating before bed? Because would you recommend them eat and then they go to bed? Or is it like a 3-hour window to give their body time to digest?
Yeah, I think it's better that people cut off food earlier than later, because most of the time what we're eating at night is shit. It's alcohol, it's sweets, it's junk food. If someone has a day where that 1 o'clock to 9 o'clock, they had an amazing quality food, like that's not going to be that bad. That's going to be fine. It's just most of the time at nighttime, we're not eating good foods. So my recommendation is do your best to cut off your eating 3 hours before you go to bed. Sometimes that's not going to happen. I know like yesterday for me, I ate at 9 o'clock at night because we came home and I went to bed at 10.
Yeah.
Shit happens, but do your best is create a consistent window. It doesn't have to be neurotic. It's just an idea of, okay, you know what? In these 8 to 10 to maybe max 12 hours, I'm going to get my 3 or 4 meals in, which is going to improve the likelihood that I'm not overeating. Just simple rules, simple guardrails.
Yeah. So even with the five factors for fat loss, a lot of people, because we do focus on protein too and sticking with your eating window, some of our clients will say, well, coach, I miss a serving of protein, but is it okay to have my serving of protein, but it's outside my eating window? What would you recommend? Would you say stick to your eating window, or would you say have your protein so you hit your protein?
It's a good question. I think it depends. I wouldn't worry so much if you break your eating window to get a quality source of protein. I just think most of the time when people are breaking their eating window, it's because they're just eating stuff that's not the best.
Okay.
So eating window is not going to guarantee that you're in a calorie deficit. That's another reality, is even if you're eating within 8 hours, if you're eating a bunch of crap that's super high calories, hey, nothing's going to be effective. It's just, it's giving you a window which the likelihood that you eat reasonable amount of calories goes up when you have an eating window.
Yeah.
All right. So, hey, guys, recapping, goal is to lose 10 pounds in the next 10 weeks. Best thing you can do, work out 4 days a week. It's going to improve your decision-making, with your sleep. It's going to improve your decision-making with your food. Second thing is walk every single day, 30 to 45 minutes. Treat it like a second workout. If you want a step count, aim for 10K steps. Third thing that we're going to do is we're going to drink half of your body weight in ounces for water. So that way you're hydrated, but also having 0-calorie beverages, right? Just don't waste the opportunity to be, taking in a bunch of calories that are not giving you any nutritional value.
Yeah.
4, prioritize protein. Try to get 0.8 to 1 gram of desired body weight. So you're more full. You're focusing on building more muscle, and you're using the thermic effect of food, which is why protein's so great. last but not least, give yourself some direction and some organization by having a 8 to 12 hour eating window. All right? We good?
Good.
All right. We're getting better at talking less. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. If you want to help a friend or a loved one lose 10 pounds of body fat in the next 10 weeks, send them this podcast episode. Or if you guys want help doing that, and I would say not even just for 10 weeks, is if you want help doing this long term, check out Training for Warriors Saga. This is what we specialize in. It's helping busy professionals and busy parents lose fat, build muscle, and improve their confidence. I'm Coach Cory signing out.
Coach Susie,
Beastin'.